Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So the Mahavakya Vichaara, okay? I know most of you are exposed to this. Some of you may have been exposed to different sampradayas. That's all fine. So, how do you define a Mahavakya? Okay. Akhandartha Bodhakam Vakyam Mahavakyam. A Vakya, a sentence that will give you knowledge of Akhandam. What is Akhandam? Na Kanditamiti, that which is not broken up. What do you mean by that? That anything that we know is always Khanditam, conditioned by time and space. Khandita meaning broken up. Broken up means what? In time and space broken up. How else is it going to be divided? So anything we know is conditioned by time and space. Therefore, the Vakya, the sentence that gives you knowledge of that which is not conditioned by time and space is called Akhandartham. The indivisible whole, in other words. WH, okay, not H. The indivisible whole. Keeping that in mind, okay, what is Akhandam? What is being to mean unconditioned by time and space? Okay. That becomes a big issue. And why do we need it? That which is limitless, why do we need it? You know space is practically limitless. Practically. Not really limitless, but practically limitless. I know there is space is practically limitless. What difference does it make in my life? Does it make any difference? If by knowing space is limitless, I could get a nice apartment in Bombay, that that will be good. No, the whole space is yours to take. Whole limitless space is yours, take it. Where can you take it? Can you take it anywhere? Can you use it? So by knowing Akhandam, what do you know? I mean, what do you gain? I'm following the traditional style by starting with the Purva Paksha, okay? This is how Shankara starts his Brahma Sutra Bhashya, with the Purva Paksha. So, you gain nothing out of it. You gain nothing out of it. Which brings us back to certain fundamentals. I said I will also touch upon the fundamentals. What is the human pursuit about? Why this Akhandam becomes so important in the Upanishads? Mahavakya is the summary of the whole Upanishadic teaching. In one line, the whole Upanishadic teaching is summed up. So why is this Akhandam so important? Because of our pursuit. All of us are born with self-ignorance. In fact, total ignorance. When you are born as a baby, do you know anything? You don't even know that this is your mom. She becomes only a source of food for you and warmth and comfort. That's all we know. Then My own body I am not fully aware of. Haven't you seen babies? Something else will also go in. Something. Oh, there is sensation here, there is sensation here. But that thing, sensation here, no sensation there. Then they'll grab their toe and put it into the mouth. Oh, sensation is there in both places. That means wherever there is sensation, this is me. So slowly like this, we keep shedding ignorance about the world, about my body, and as we grow older, about our emotions, our psychological nature, our thinking. All this we keep shedding ignorance of. But what about the I that is aware of the whole thing? That's aware of your body, that's aware of your emotions. What about that I? Comfortably ignorant. We can go to the moon and come back. We can go to Mars and come back after a few years. Not yet. The technology is not yet. But the self-ignorance continues. And it is universal. Everyone has that. So we all are normal. Because it is universal. In fact, anybody who challenges that looks odd. Like I'm sure all of you have had that experience with your friends. What are you doing all this? Especially the younger people here. Now you want to go to Rishikesh? You want to go for a camp? Spiritual camp? Now is the time to have fun. Yeah. Where is the party tonight? That should be your thinking. You'll face it naturally. Now, because of the self-ignorance, we make self-judgments. Unavoidable. Because you are self-aware and self-ignorant simultaneously. You know that I am there. I don't know what I am. And you are thinking people. Therefore, you're bound to have a conclusion. We all are thinking people. Therefore, to conclude is natural. Because you can't keep an open mind on this. Because unless you conclude, you can't function. Who am I? I don't know. Would you like to do this? Would you like to do something? Unless I have a judgment of what I am and what I like or don't like, how can I decide to do this or not to do this? So I need a conclusion. So I am bound to conclude. Being ignorant and still conclude. Then what will I conclude on? On the basis of what I am associated with. This body, this mind. I'll make a conclusion. Natural. How? It is like this actor. Can anyone tell me an actor's name in Bollywood? Come on. Huh? Okay, older generation, Amitabh Bachchan. Younger generation would have chosen someone else. All right. Now Mr. Bachchan is given a role on the stage. Because ultimate acting is on the stage, not on the... there are only rehearsals, there are no retakes. And in that role, he's a beggar. The beggar is a hero. Okay. So he's supposed to go into this hotel asking for food. And the bouncer there, the security there, is supposed to push him away. And he's supposed to fall and then get up and break into a song. Every Indian movie or theatre is a musical, okay? Supposed to break into a song. Duniya kya jaane or whatever. You all know what it is. Today, that guy who's acting as a bouncer pushed him a little harder than normal. He fell down, banged his head on the ground. For a second, he lost consciousness. And the audience is thinking, what acting here? So lifelike, so realistic. Then he gets up. Temporary amnesia. He has forgotten who he is, what he is. What will he do? He'll look at himself. I don't remember my name or who I am, what I am. But I am dressed as a beggar. Therefore, I must be a beggar. And others are also treating him like that, on top of it. The bouncer, they are saying, get lost. You are not supposed to be here. Yeah. Another passerby is saying, what is this drunk doing here? The world is treating you like that. You are associated with the clothes of a beggar. I must be a beggar. He's not happy with that conclusion. But he doesn't know what else he is. This is our lot. You are all born and associated with this body and mind. Therefore, I must be a human being. I must be male. I must be female. I don't even want to go into gender confusions. I don't want to go into gender confusions, please. Spare me. This is what we are. Are you happy with that? Amitabh Bachchan won't be happy. He is happy playing the role of a beggar when he knows he is Mr. Bachchan and is getting crores for this role. Then he is very happy. But if he forgets, then that is, you are not comfortable with it. You don't know what else is it, but you are not comfortable with it. Same thing with all of us. We are not comfortable with who we are. Therefore, our eternal search starts. I am not fine as I am. I am talking about normal behavior, not special behavior like attention-seeking behavior and things like that. No, I am talking of normal. I am not. So what will I do? Try to change something. Try to become something. That's why samsara is called becoming. Why? Because we'll always try to become something. No. This is me. Then we'll talk about self-acceptance. Really? Self-love. How much? All the people who talk about self-love, would you like to lose 5 pounds? Of course. What happened to your self-love? Would you like your nose to be slightly different? I can't afford surgery, etc. No. I have a special technique. I'll just touch and make you okay. After all, Himalayan Mahatmas, no? You can do a lot of stuff. Always becoming something, trying to add on things. And from childhood, the society teaches us this. Beta, Sonny, what would you like to be? And he tells you, happy. Yeah, I know you want to be happy. But what do you want to do to become happy? India, this is very strong, no? We are pushed into careers by the time we are 5-year-old. Should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, as though there is no other career available. That's how all of us got into careers. So you want to get things. Or you want to get rid of things. The girl I like, her mother I don't. Get the girl, get rid of the mother. Get things, get rid of things. Add things. You make tons of money. What Bill Gates and all doing? Giving it away. I don't know. I heard that. Either getting it or getting rid of. That's all we know. Why? It's a struggle. We are like a fish out of water. It's a struggle to go back to our true nature, even though we don't know what it is. This urge, this is natural. This is an existential angst that every human being faces. Teenage years, you face it strongly. After that, the angst gets buried under the responsibilities of life. Then it starts flaring up again in your 40s and 50s. That's why you come to Vedanta at that time. Look at it. As a human being, I have certain basic fundamental issues. Food, clothing, shelter is not a problem for all of us. Though if you are living as a sadhu in Rishikesh, it could be a problem. If you are living on bhiksha, there are days you won't get food. I have stayed like that, and there are days you don't get food. What do you do? What do you do then? Plenty of water in the Ganga. What's your problem? Today is Ekadashi for you, fasting. I'm not joking. Why me? In Banaras, there was a day when Adi Shankara himself did not get bhiksha. Can you imagine someone like Adi Shankara? Hundreds of students. Okay. Someone whom the whole world respected at that time didn't get bhiksha. Nobody gave him food. He went for bhiksha, alms. Nobody gave him food. So he went into the Devi temple there and composed the Annapurna Ashtakam. Annapurne, Sadapurne. Yeah. So, food, clothing, shelter is not the human problem. No one here is having issues with food, clothing, shelter. The problem with all is too much of food, especially if you are in the ashram. Be careful. Then what is our issue? Issue? Your sense of isolation. I have taken myself to be a finite human being. Unique. Each one of us is unique. Therefore, different from each other. Therefore, isolated. The more unique you are, the more isolated you are. And you try to find common grounds with certain groups and try to join groups. That isolation creates a sense of loneliness, which we try to get rid of by picking up a partner in life, children, etc., etc., etc. But you can have your whole family around you and still feel lonely because you came up with an idea and nobody even understands what you're saying. Your partner loves you, your children love you, they don't understand you. What do you feel? In fact, one complaint I receive all over the world, wherever I travel, is this. Swamiji, nobody understands me. So we develop tools of communication. But communication at best is only a bridge. It doesn't remove. Two islands, you put a bridge across. Maximum. And sometimes the bridge breaks down. It has to be rebuilt and re-established. So isolation, loneliness, this is a human problem. Purposelessness is a human problem. This middle class person, someone in the middle class in Bombay, all his life he worked, he has 2 kids. So he thought, I will leave one flat each, one apartment each for each of my kids. And both the kids went to states, they got green cards and they're taking their citizenship, and they said, we are not going to come back. And this old man in his 60s feels, what will I do now? Whole life I worked for them. What is the purpose in my life? Father built up a business. Said, my son will take it over. The son says, Dad, I'm not interested in business. I want to be a musician. Nothing wrong with the son's life. But what does the father feel? Why did I do all this? Why did I do all this? It's peculiar in India, isn't it? There are variations of this everywhere else also. My father dreamt, oh, my son will have a brilliant career, this, that. My mother was dreaming of an ideal daughter-in-law. Knowing me, ideal daughter-in-law, my God. But parents are delusional. Anyway, ideal daughter-in-law, etc. And then the guy comes up and says, "Main sadhu banne wala. I'm going to join the ashram." What do you think my parents felt? What have you done? You have done nothing wrong. It is me. I want to do something. But they feel purposeless. I realized it in school. We had a poem in school, English poetry. The traveler in the desert, comes across a statue. I am Osman Dyer's King of Kings. Look at my works, ye mighty, and despair. And says, I looked around, and all that I saw was sand and sand and sand, nothing else. What happened to all his works? Gone. What is the purpose? He lived, he conquered, but then purpose what? You have a kawali like that in Hindi, na? What is that? Chadta suraj dheere dheere dal jayega, dal jayega. The rising sun will set. Purpose? I want to leave my imprint on the shifting sands of time. The shifting sands, okay? Purposeless. I mean, what are your achievements worth? You heard of the Achilles of Sparta, isn't it? Macedonian. The hero of Helen of this thing, Iliad, made into a movie Troy. So he's wondering whether he should go. He doesn't get along with Agamemnon, the king, whether he wants to go to the war or not against Troy. So he goes to his mother. Mother is a goddess, demi-goddess. And she tells him, if you don't fight this war, you'll have children and grandchildren. You will find love, you'll have children and grandchildren. And they will remember you. But after that, you will be forgotten. How many of you remember your great-grandparents, tell me? 4th generation. Your father you'll remember, your grandfather you'll remember, or grandmom, great-grandma. How many of you remember? Is he a photograph on your wall? No, no. You'll be forgotten. They won't even know you existed. Even though you carry their genes, you won't even know who he was and what he existed. But if you go for this war, they'll speak about you for 1,000 years. But I'll never see you again, because your fame and your destruction goes together. Oh, so he decides to go for war. After all, hero, warlike. He was a hero, and 1,000 years they'll remember. But today what are we doing? We are questioning whether the whole thing was a figment of imagination, of Homer's imagination, or did it really happen? Did that hero exist, or was it Homer's creation? But there is something called Troy and somewhere in Iran-Turkey border, no? You don't know for sure. They're questioning Krishna in spite of finding Dwaraka. Then what are you talking about? Purpose? To be forgotten. Purpose? 6 feet under the earth. Purpose? A few. If you're a Christian or a Muslim or something, you'll be buried under the earth. So you'll become food for the worms. If you're a Parsi, any Parsi around here? No. Zoroastrian. You'll become food for the vultures. If you're a Hindu, Swamiji, we cremate our dead, no? Yeah, and the ashes will put in the Ganga, and in the floods they'll go to the field, and you'll become pumpkin for your grandchildren. Okay, what else is there? Tell me. This is human life. Swamiji, I found my soulmate. Come back and tell me after 10 years. How many of you have read that book by Richard Bach, A Bridge Across Forever? Only one person. What type of books are you reading? Or are you reading at all? It's a fantastic book called A Bridge Across Forever, of how he finds his true love. They're saying all spiritual masters are alone. They're not married people. He didn't know about our rishis. Okay. This is Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. All of them were single people. Is it possible to be a spiritual teacher and be married? So he goes about trying to find his ideal partner. And he finds. And the whole book is about how he finds and builds up his relationship with this soulmate of his. Great book. 15 years after that he wrote that book, he came to India. And we asked him, where is your partner gone? Where is your wife gone? Oh, we are divorced because we both wanted to go our separate ways. That is his choice, of course. I respect his freedom. But what happened to all that stuff? Because if you read that book, you will think love is real. But what happened in his life after 15 years? Human life. And here we are trying to make meaning and find some fulfillment in the whole thing. Isn't that what we are trying to do? Whether it is through getting a thing, a house, a home, people, partners, children, what are we trying to do? Find a sense of fulfillment, isn't it? Why? Because in the vision of the Upanishad, that is your true nature. In my vision, I am a finite human being. Therefore isolated and have all these issues. In the vision of the Upanishads, I am already full and complete. Therefore, if you have taken yourself as a finite human being, when will you find fulfillment? Not by doing, because all these things that you do, result is finite. An action given in time and space will give a result which is equally conditioned by time and space. A series of finite actions will give you a series of finite results. They will all be khanditam. And what is your heart seeking? That which is not finite. Akhandam. Therefore, what you are seeking is akhandam. And what is the Upanishad revealing? Akhandam Brahman. Therefore, akhandartha bodhakam vakyam Mahavakyam. Your fundamental pursuit is for this. You can have other pursuits in between, of course. That's okay. That's managing life. To manage life, you need money. To manage life, you need some career. You need a place to stay. All that is fine. Nothing wrong in any of these things. Those are all normal human pursuits. It's all fine to go after all these things. But what is the ultimate purpose? Ultimate purpose in Sanskrit called Parama Purushartha. What is that? Akhandam Brahman. Otherwise called as moksha, freedom from my existential issues. Moksha is not freedom from food, clothing, shelter. I mean, come on, that's nothing. Freedom from my existential issues, from my sense of finitude. My sense of finitude. Why? Because finitude is not real anyway. It's only experiential. And our problem is we take experience as real. This is a big issue, especially in modern Vedanta, that we take experience as real. And nowadays it's all about experience. I have seen in Bombay, they're marketing an apartment. An apartment, our times you will look for, is it Vastu compliant first? How are the fitting? How is the layout? Is it comfortable? Those are the things we look for. What is the construction? Is it sturdy enough to last at least 50 years? What is the location? No, now they don't talk about all these things in an advertisement. The experience in an apartment, experience luxury, experience this, experience that. We are so experience oriented that we take experience as reality. I'm laying groundwork, okay, for Akhandam Brahman. But experience is not reality. You're walking on a flat earth. Is it reality? You're enjoying the sunrise. Is it reality? You're experiencing time. Then why do you need a clock? Because we have to measure, It's not real. It's only by agreement. So experience is not reality. But we experience finitude, and on the basis we have made that conclusion, I am a finite human being. And I will never be free from my existential issues. I will never have what is known as moksha unless I discover myself as akhandam, as non-finite, as the limitless. Therefore, akhandartha bodhakam vakyam, Mahavakyam. This is what the Mahavakyam is supposed to do. Clear up to now? Can go forward. Don't worry, my classes are interactive. Forget that the recording is happening, all that. We interact and have a class. That is secondary. Okay. So, Akhandam Brahman we are going for. Okay. So, we also seen that any amount of actions is not going to give it. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Tasmad tad vijnanartham gurumeva abhigachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. Undaka says that. Therefore, to know who you are, go to a teacher who Shotriyam, who has the methodology of communication, the Shastra, and Brahmanishtam himself is clear about the truth. Because if he is not clear about the truth, what will he teach you? I've heard that we are Brahman. That won't work. I've heard we are Brahman. I heard we are a lot of things. Yeah. My teachers, my parents used to call me a lot of things every day. My teachers were quite fed up of me in school. They used to call me a lot of stuff. But they wanted getting things done. That time also they would call me. Okay. So that's a different thing. That's part of the game. So, I've heard is not enough. what I know for sure. Yeah. It's like Vivekananda going to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and saying, do you know God? He says, better than I know you. Better than I know you. That is supposed to be Brahmanishta, okay? One way of presenting it. Anyway, there are qualities mentioned for the student also that I'm sure all of you are aware of that. Sadhana Chatushtayam, Viveka, Vairagya, Shat. That maturity of life in short. In short, what is the qualification for a student? If you want, it's all Mahavakya, na? Summing up in one statement. One statement you want, what is the quality of a student? Think clearly, feel deeply, act decisively. If you can do that, you are ready for Vedanta. Think clearly, feel deeply, act decisively. Maturity. This is what maturity is about. Yeah, that's all you need to have, a maturity. But that's a big thing, okay? Think clearly, feel deeply, not get confused with your feelings, not go haywire with your feelings, not have conflict between feelings and thinking, and to act in a harmony with your thinking and feeling decisively. We think 10 times before doing something and then still do the wrong thing. Yeah, that's all it calls for. That's what maturity is. So think clearly, feel deeply, and act decisively. Anyone who's successful does this. Yeah?
I'm not sure if I understand what does feel deeply actually.
Feel deeply. Feel deeply about things. When you love someone deeply. Don't be superficial about your emotions. Yeah. Be objective, but don't be superficial. Don't be so detached from the world that you don't get involved. If you need growth in the world, you need involvement. Without involvement, you won't grow. Life is not a spectator sport. I have a gym membership and I go and watch all the people working out. But I'm supposed to be detached, you know. You will keep putting on weight, that's all. And becoming more and more unfit. Yeah. No, Swamiji, I prefer yoga. Very good. But I can't touch my toes. Why don't you try, practice? There are various ways of doing it with props, this, that, etc. No. I detached about it. What do you expect your health to be? Yeah. Get involved. But what about Vairagya? Vairagya starts with a sense of objectivity. Vairagya is not dispassion. That's a wrong translation. Vitaragaha, that's all. There is no longing and dependency on it. Yeah, I need money. Of course I need money. But I don't think I can buy happiness with money. I know what money can buy. I know what money cannot buy. Money can buy a house. Can it make it a home? Home requires loving hearts and hands. Money can buy sex. Can it buy love? It can buy you an arm candy, nothing more than that. Men or woman, doesn't matter. You can't buy love. Yeah. Money can make you comfortable. Can it make you happy? If you have a choice being comfortably unhappy and uncomfortably unhappy, better become comfortably unhappy. That is objectivity, sensible. Can you see that? What it can do, what it can't do. What's the relationship going to do? Manage my loneliness. Have some physical and emotional intimacy. Oh, I live happily ever after. Fairy tales. It's fairy tales. Yeah, I mean, have an objectivity with things, no? Oh, I'm supposed to have objectivity. Therefore, I met this person, but I will hold back in my love. That's not how you build a relationship. What are you holding back? Yeah, trust has to be built up over time, I accept that. But once you trust, what are you holding back? If you're holding back, that's not a relationship. Get involved, burn your fingers, then you will get Vairagya all right. I don't need that anymore. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Then you're fine. Not otherwise. Yeah. Like in Hindi, we have a statement, na? Sav chua khake, billi haj par gaya. I'm sure most of you understand what it is. After having done all the wrong things in life, the guy is going on a pilgrimage. Because he has done wrong things, he needs to go on a pilgrimage. If he has not done wrong things, why should he go on a pilgrimage? Anyway, jokes apart, the idea is this. You come for the learning, to discover your akhandam. Okay. So, the Mahavakya is actually speaking, summing up the whole teaching. Now, which Vakya you would like me to start with? I can start with any Vakya, okay? Okay, I have given you a list of few of the Vakyas, we will look into it. It is not limited to this. One thing, it is not limited to 4 Vakyas. Many people think that there are only 4 Mahavakyas. There are dozens of them. Okay? Because Akhandartha Bodhakam, any Vakya that gives you Akhandam Brahma Jnanam is a Mahavakya, number 1. Number 2, there are also Vakyas which are similar to Mahavakyas, which come close. Gita does not have a Mahavakya, technically speaking, if it is 4. If it is only 4, Gita doesn't have it. That means by knowing the Gita, studying the whole Gita, you will not gain moksha. Then how did Arjuna gain moksha? In fact, Arjuna didn't even have to meditate after that. He was such a prepared student. Yeah. At the end of the teaching, he says that Nashto Moha Smritar Labdha. My delusion is gone, everything is fine. The bow he couldn't hold jumps back into his hands. Come on, let's roll. Battle awaits. Yeah, let's roll. He didn't go and sit down and meditate for years on a Himalayan peak. Yeah, it's fine. But there's no Mahavakya, that if it is 4, there's no Mahavakya in the Gita. That's why I quoted some Vakyas there which are similar to a Mahavakya. Okay. Now, which is the first one? Tattvamasi, okay. Because that is a classical Mahavakya that is taken. Now, to understand the Mahavakya, you have to understand the background. Mahavakya is Tattvamasi. But how did it come about? Okay? How did it come about? The story goes, there is a great teacher called Uddhalaka. Okay? Rishi. Great teacher. Hundreds of students. But his own son, he sends to a different Gurukula. Why? Dad. His daddy, after all. Normally, if you are a Rishi Putra or a Brahmin boy or something, you start your studies early in a Gurukula. You start by 6. Okay? If you are from a business family, etc., you start later, 8 or something. If you are a Kshatriya family, then you start later, 10 or 12. Why? There are a lot of traditions that a warrior has to gain from the family. You have to be warrior born and bred. A lot of traditions have to be gained, which cannot be taught in a Gurukula, therefore you start later in life. You have to see Your father, your uncles, your mama, your auntie, all of them with weapons, the clash of arms, to be able to take pain and handle it. Pain, what is that? Of course you feel the pain. Your nerves are not dead because you are a warrior. But you have to be able to handle that. So these type of things you have to pick up from your peer group. My father is cut, he is bleeding, but he is still using that sword and fighting. My God, how is he doing that? I also want to be like that. See, so you start later. You start later. But he is sent to the Gurukula at the age of 12. Why? Because father must have tried to teach him and found difficult. Send him to some other rishi where he won't relate as dad. He comes back. 12 years of education, okay? And those days that was like masters. You have got a master in this. In your field, you got your masters. Cocky youngster. Even if he went at 6, he's coming back at 18. So cocky youngster. As a cocky youngster, he walks in. The dad sees that, not very happy seeing that. So he calls him and says, did you ask your teacher for that knowledge, knowing which everything is known? And you know what the boy answers? I don't think my teacher knew that. Because I was one of the brightest. If he knew, he would have taught me. The Upanishad is silent there. Probably father is raised an eyebrow and asked, what? And the boy asks, is there something like that? Is there something? Knowing something, you can know everything. If I know phone, I only know phone. Okay? If I know the mic, I'll know only the mic, not the phone. I won't even know Mr. Mike. I will only know Mike. So, to cut the long story short, the father talks about cause and effect. Now, he says something very beautifully. Since many of you have got a good background already, you have to understand that cause effect is used in Vedanta and cause effect is also dismissed in Vedanta. You know why these pots are kept here? This is in memory of Puja Swamiji. He always loved to use this example as pot and clay. So he says, if you know clay, you know all pots. Because, in honor of Swamiji, okay? What do you see, pot or clay? But what will carry water, pot or clay? But the weight of the pot is what? The weight of the clay. The feel of the pot is what? Is there a pot separate from the clay? So where is the clay? In the pot? Huh? The clay is around the pot. I don't see anything around the pot. The clay in this form is pot, isn't it? So what is this thing that you call pot? Namarupa. Just a name for a given form. Is there a form independent of the substance? If I break the pot, will the clay is the clay lost or the pot lost? Is the clay absent when the pot is made? Is the clay absent when the pot is broken? So all there is clay. Where is the pot? Is there? Experiential. Can you understand what I mean, experiential? Pot is experiential. It's a name and a form for clay. All cause effect are like this. What is this that you're having in your hands? A booklet? Supposing instead of binding it, we just put it in a file, would you call it a book? It will just become sheaf of papers, no? Correct? So is there a book or a file independent of paper? More of it will develop later. So all that you call, there is a cause-effect relationship. But the cause-effect relationship is apparent, not real. You can't say the pot is as real as the clay. Can you say that? Because the pot can be broken. Clay will continue. Can you say there is no pot? No. It's good for drinking tea or some water. Kullad chai is supposed to be a big thing in Bombay nowadays. No? They charge you more for it. The same tea but made into a pot. That's all. Here it is common. If you go into the town, go to the marketplace, they'll give you tea in a kullad only. They call it kullad, pot. So you can't say pot is not real. But it's not as real as the clay. Because a pot exists depending upon the clay. Any dependent existence is called mithya. Dependent existence is called mithya. What am I wearing? A kurta. What is this? An upavastram? Angavastram? Don't say angavastram when there are Maharashtrians around. Okay, it has a different meaning there. Upavastram. Okay. What is the difference between the upavastram and the kurta? Only name form difference. The same material also, okay? Same material also. So what is the difference? Name form. Both exist depending on cloth. Therefore, the cloth is the cause for the kurta. The clay is the cause for the pot. Agreed. But at the same time, the cause-effect relationship is mithya. Not real. It's important to understand this. Only then Akhandartham will be clear. So Shetaketu is taught this by his father Uddalaka. Everywhere he says this cause. He says if you know the cause, all effects are known. Then he says if you know iron, you know what a nail cutter is made of. We had nail cutters those days also. Different type, it's a different shape. You will find it with some of the old barbers. If you know gold, you will know all the ornaments made of gold. Okay. But in our functioning, our attention is on the form. Therefore, we will say golden chain, golden bangle, golden ring, because our attention is on function. If your attention was on content, what would you be saying? Chainy gold, bangly gold, ringy gold. That's correct, isn't it? Because ring is or bangle is an adjective, gold is the substance, the reality. But we have made it the other way around. We have made the ring into a noun and golden as an adjective. If anybody of you has a doubt about this, and you are wearing a gold chain or something like that, or a gold ring, or a gold bangle, please leave the gold with me and take away the bangle. You'll never forget it. This is called experiential learning. Because what will I do with a chain or a bangle? Sadhu aadmi hai yaar, kya karega? What will I do as a sadhu? I don't even have anybody to gift it to. What will I do with it? But gold I can do something, We are building up an ashram, I can sell gold and put up I can do something with gold. So leave the gold with me, take away the ornament. Once you do that, you will understand exactly what is Satyam and Nitya. All right. So first, Shvetaketu is taught this Satyam Mithya thing. Then he makes a conclusion. Based on this, he makes a conclusion. Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam mritikeva satyam. Whatever you call pot, etc., is only vak alambanam, depending upon your word. In that example, clay alone is satyam. So now, after this, now you have to bring in the world, because this is all true. What about this whole world? The Upanishad reveals a cause. As I said, I am cutting across different Upanishads, okay? Here. It reveals a cause. Jagat Karnam Brahman. What is the cause for the one? Everyone will say, God, Ishvaraha, Bhagavan. Okay. He knows the creation. He has the skill to create. Intelligence is there. Knowledge and intelligence there. What about the material? You cannot say God created something out of nothing. There are philosophies in the world which says that, especially Shunyavada Buddhism. I have interacted with many of the Shunyavadins, and those Shunyavadins who are into Zen, they say when we say Shunya, it is not really Shunya. We mean absence of everything else. Therefore, we came up with a common accepted terminology. I said, then can we call it non-conceptual reality? They said, yes, pot is a concept, book is a concept. The reality has to be free from that concept. No? Clay is free from the pot, paper is free from the book. So, non-conceptual reality, acceptable term for Shunya. So, Shunya is not really Shunya then. Swamiji, are you inventing a term? No, Nirgunam Brahma. Just put a different translation to it in English, that's all. So, from nothing, nothing will come. You need something. So, the Upanishad says, the material for the creation and the creator are one and the same. Material, abhinna, nimitta upadana karanam. I'm just summing up fundamentals that you all already know. Abhinna, non-dual, nimitta upadana karanam, efficient and material cause. This is Ishvara, Jagat Karanam. That means what? The whole multiverse, 14 dimensions, is his body. He is not isolated sitting in Timbuktu. He is in Timbuktu also. If you say that, of course, wherever there is something, he is there. He is omnipresent. Why? Because he is a material for the whole thing. Where the pot is, the clay is. Where the creation is, Ishvara is. Because he is a material. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. All right. This is Ishvara. And what are you? I am a jiva. I am a finite entity. Remember? Ishvara can be everything. I am a small bit of the whole thing. This is the maximum conclusion you can come to on your own with your logic. That he can be everything, I am one small part. That's your experience, isn't it? The world is so vast and I am so small. I've seen posters like this, but oh Lord, the world is so vast and my ship is so small. The world doesn't have to be so vast. All you need is one ocean out of the 5 oceans to know what it is. Especially weather like this, na? Maja aata hai. You'll have great fun. I sailed the 7 seas faced 100-foot high waves. Then you will know what it is. You think this is blowing? This is nothing. Just a breeze. I am small. And I want to be free from my smallness, from my finitude. So after teaching this much about Ishvara, Uddalaka says, Sa Atma Tattvamasi Ishetaviketu. That is you. Tattvamasi, he says. So the context has to be clear for Tattvamasi. Otherwise, Tattvamasi can mean anything. There are some four-legged creatures coming here for with some construction work, sand, etc. The Tattvamasi means what then? Tattvamasi has to be contextual. So in this context, after having established Jagat Karanam Brahman, etc., and of course, the boy's finitude is evident. Boy's finitude is cocky. That cockiness is part of that finitude. When you think you are a smart ass, that is finitude. Yeah. When you think, I know it all, finitude. Because you don't know it all. If you really knew, you don't have to feel like asserting it so much. Therefore, this finite entity sitting in front of him is equated with Tad Jagat Karanam Brahman. So now there are some, I can go without technicalities, with technicalities. But I'm sure this class will expect some technicalities from me. And then they feel comfortable. Hum log barabar kiya. Though really speaking, it's without technicalities that you understand. But anyway. So, this particular arrangement of sentences, of words, in Sanskrit, there is a particular word given for it. It is called Samanadikarnyam. What is Samanadikarnyam? Having the same adhikaranam. Samana adhikaranam. Same adhikaranam. Now what is that? You want a technical definition? Here it is. Binna pravritti nimittanam padanam. Words which have a different pravritti, meaning different meanings. Samana vibhaktikanam. Having same vibhaktis. This is applicable only in Sanskrit. Samana vibhaktikanam. Ekasmin bimbe tatparyam. Having his intent on one entity alone. Common example. Big, blue, fragrant lotus. Big, blue, fragrant. These are all have different meanings. Big is different, blue is different, fragrant is different. But they all have their implication, their intent in which word? Lotus. Exactly like Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. Correct? It's called Samanadikarnyam. Tattvamasi is same. Tat is different. Stands for Jagat Karanam Brahman. Tvam stands for you, the finite individual who wants to be seeking knowledge. Asi is a verb of being which connects up the two and makes it in Samanadikarnyam. Tattvam asi iti. So between the words, there is a relationship of referring to one and the same entity. When words are in Samanadikarnyam, they all refer to one entity. Big, blue, fragrant lotus. Example, common English example. Okay. Or any other word. Prajnanam Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. All of them refer to one and the same entity. Now, when they refer to one and the same entity, when you look at it in the world, because language comes from the world of dealing with things. What is the relationship between the meaning of the words? Big blue fragrant lotus. What's the relationship between the meaning? Big blue fragrant, even though can stand independent by themselves, in this arrangement, it becomes adjectives to Brahman, to lotus. Correct or not? So when words are in Samanadhikaranyam, big blue fragrant lotus, the meaning is an adjectival relationship. Big blue fragrant become an adjective for lotus. Clear up to now? Simple. Simple language, looking at language, that's all. This is true in any language. Okay. But it is not a shopping list. It's a sentence. Shopping list also, you can say there is Samanadhikaranyam. Potatoes, onions, okra, okay, paneer. They are not in Samanadhikaranyam because that's a list. It's not a sentence. Big blue fragrant lotus is a sentence. Please bring me big blue fragrant lotus. Whereas if you say, shop these for me and get it, I give a list in the office. They don't have a Samanadhikaranyam relationship, it's a list. Whereas the other is a sentence which has got Samanadhikaranyam. Therefore, there is an adjectival relationship. If there is no adjectival relationship, there is no sentence there. That's why the shopping list doesn't become a sentence. There is no verb. It's a list of things. It's an enumeration. Here, because Tattvam Asi iti, there is an adjectival relationship. Now, in big blue fragrant lotus, it's perfect. What is big is blue, what is blue is fragrant, and what is big, blue and fragrant is this lotus. Why? Because you can have a lotus which is not big, which is small. You can have a lotus which is pink, not blue. You can have a lotus which is not fragrant. GM lotus. Thank God they have not done GM lotus yet. Which is not fragrant. But this one is all the three. So there it fits in perfectly. Big blue fragrant lotus fits in perfectly. In Tattvamasi there is a problem. Why is there a problem? Which is adjective of which? Tat becomes adjective of Tvam, or Tvam becomes adjective of Tat? If Tat becomes adjective of Tvam, Tvam is me, I, then I should be Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman. I should be all powerful. I should be able to create planets by just thinking of it. What is the latest in New Age thinking now? You must manifest your destiny. Manifest it. I manifested my job. Are you happy with it? No. Why did you manifest it? I'll manifest a partner. Then you'll have to run away from the guy after some time. What? The secret for the universe. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Because all these books come out in English, you know. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Don't forget that old English statement also. But if you are Ishvara, you will be able to do it. I can't. Therefore, Tat, I am not Sarvajnaha, I don't know everything. Even if I'm going to argue like hell to prove I'm right, I don't know everything. I know that. I don't have the last word in anything. Sarva Shaktiman. I find it difficult to lift my suitcase. What are you talking about? All power. Swamiji, I've seen you doing 20 kilo dumbbells, hammer curls. That's all, no? 20 kilos. That's all you can do, not more than that, no? What is 20 kilos in front of the weight of the planet? Nothing. Nothing. So, I can't be Sarva Shaktiman. Sarvajna I am not. Sarva Vyapi, all pervading. I don't like it when my belt is getting tighter with all the food I'm eating. I don't want to be Sarva Vyapi. All pervading, I don't want to be. If we eat like this regularly, we will end up looking like Mandaleshwas. So, I can't be. Tat cannot be adjective of Tvam. Alright, Tvam can become adjective of Tat. Another way, because after all I am part of Ishvara. Na? Then Ishvara will become sad. Ishvara will become miserable. Ishvara will have a sense of finitude. Ishvara will find himself purposeless. What am I doing? I am creating all these idiots around. What for? I gave them a perfect world, a heaven. They're destroying their world and looking for some other heaven. What is this? What is this? Nonsense, idiotic people. What have I done? What have I not finished them all? Ishvara will get such thoughts. Can you see the whole problem Ishvara will have? He'll also feel lonely. All these, my kids, and like typical children, they don't want to do anything with me. Yeah, I want them to love me, but they don't even acknowledge me. Ishvara will have all these problems. Yeah. All these trees I have created, they have stepped for thousands of years, and these characters are cutting it down. Amazonian rainforests are being cut down for what? Mining. They can do it without cutting down the trees. They don't have to do strip mining. Poor guy. You will start sympathizing with him. Huh? Correct? Ishvara also has got problems. And if Ishvara is feeling lonely, he'll also have to fall in love. Whom will he fall in love with? Who is available? There's only one Ishvara. Some mortal he'll have to fall in love with. But what is our life compared to Ishvara's life? Such type of theories came up. Greek goddesses, Roman goddesses, etc., falling in love with human beings, creating demigods and all. It all came up with this type of thinking. Yeah. So, if I become an adjective for Ishvara, it's problematic. If Ishvara becomes an adjective for me, not a fact, not experiential. Therefore, what do we do? When such a thing happens, when something doesn't make sense, like here, Tat and Tvam being adjective of Ishvara doesn't make sense, we have to go for an implied meaning. How? By implication the whole thing will work. It is called Bhada Samanadhikaranyam when you go for implication. Samanadhikaranyam, but Bhada Samanadhikaranyam. Then there are types and types of implications. We'll see.